Coming up on Mountain News this morning, one person is dead and 10 others injured after a shooting in Atlanta. And counties are still working hard to repair and rebuild 3 years after the July 2022 flood tore through the region.
Dedicated to Eastern and Southern Kentucky, this is WYMT Mountain News this morning.
Good morning. Happy Tuesday to you, Mountain family. I'm Amelia Lee here on this July 29th. We are just about at 5 o'clock this morning, and it is time for a look at our weather with meteorologist Megan Dusmall today. Megan, what am I going to say? Hot, humid, steamy.
And foggy. There's another word for you to add in there. Yeah, we're having yet again another one of those hot days. Temperatures will actually be warmer than yesterday, a trend that will continue into tomorrow. But we are looking at cooler temperatures to head into the weekend. So there's the good news. But let's talk about that fog this morning as you're heading out the door, seeing some dense fog on the far eastern part of our region as you're heading into Virginia and West Virginia. Take a look at Clintwood, Grundy, Logan, and Pikeville, seeing the densest fog this morning. And we're nice and clear, just seeing some clouds rolling in the region. All in all, not a bad start to your day. We do have some slight chances of some storm activity as we're heading into the afternoon. Current temperatures sitting in the 70s as you're starting off your Tuesday, and there is no surprise here at all. We're looking at those low 90s yet again as we're heading into the afternoon. Feels like temperatures today, though, will not only be in the upper 90s, but also the low triple digits. So it's important to stay hydrated, especially in those afternoon and evening hours. Amelia.
A Georgia man is dead after he reportedly jumped off a boat into the Tennessee River. According to the Tennessee Wildlife Resources Agency, officials responded to reports of a drowning at a reservoir in the Hickson area of the river on Saturday. Witnesses say Randall Bradley jumped into the river and never resurfaced. TWRA officials say he was not wearing a life jacket when he went into the water. One person is dead and 10 others injured after a shooting in Atlanta. That shooting happening just before 1:30 yesterday morning. The man killed was 27-year-old Santos Wyatt. Authorities confirmed an 18-year-old man was critically injured in the shooting. Police say 7 men and 3 women who were between the ages of 18 and 29 were shot during that incident. In Lincoln County, a man faces charges for reportedly breaking into an elderly man's home in an attempt to hide from police. 33-year-old Ty Dorham was arrested at around 4 o'clock yesterday morning. Officers say earlier in the night, Doran ran away from them and then forced his way into the home of an 81-year-old man. When deputies knocked on the door, Dorham tried to escape out of a window. He's charged with burglary, criminal abuse, unlawful imprisonment, and resisting arrest. In Ohio, State Highway Patrol responded to a crash involving a semi-truck hauling a tanker of milk on Sunday. That crash happening on State Route 279 near Centerville. Police say the driver lost control and the rig rolled onto its side into the other lane, hitting a pickup truck. Troopers say that truck was knocked off the side of the road and went over an embankment. The tanker leaked thousands of gallons of milk. The Ohio EPA has gotten involved in the situation.
They have actually piled mounds, a lot of dirt. I don't know how much, because visibly a lot. So that milk will not free run. It'll soak up right there.
Police say such a spill can be hazardous because bacteria from the milk can have negative effects in surrounding water systems. The road was closed for 9 hours with crews working to clear the scene. Police say 4 people, including an NYPD officer, were shot and killed and another hurt when a man opened fire inside a Midtown Manhattan office building yesterday evening. Police swarmed that building on Park Avenue minutes after shots were reported. The suspect was identified as 27-year-old Shane Tamora from Las Vegas. Police say he drove his car cross country, arriving just before the shooting, then entered the building armed with an M4 rifle and started shooting.
Building security camera footage shows the shooter enter the lobby, turn right, and immediately open fire on an NYPD officer. He then shoots a woman who took cover behind a pillar.
The NYPD says another loaded gun and ammunition were found in the suspect's car. They say he had a history of mental illness. His motives are still under investigation. President Donald Trump is spending his final day in Scotland before his scheduled return to the White House later today. The president is expected to combine official business with his family business this morning, helping to open a new 18-hole golf course at the Trump estate in Scotland. He was there with UK Prime Minister Keir Starmer, who focused on the hunger crisis in Gaza.
We've had the opportunity to talk about the situation in Gaza and the intolerable situation, including images of starvation. And I think both of us know that we have to get to that ceasefire.
We got a lot of food ourselves, and we're going to bring it over there.
The president agreed on the need for more help. As for the Russia-Ukraine war, he also said he's speeding up a deadline from 50 to 10 or 12 days for Russia to agree to a ceasefire or face consequences. Yesterday marked 3 years since the devastating July 2022 flood, and survivors of that flood continue to rebuild and recover, moving on with their lives. Missy Sexton is one of those survivors. She lost her home in Rowdy in 2022, faced a fire 1 year later, and now is fully moved into her new high ground home. Sexton says she's just so grateful for the community support that helped get her through one of her toughest times, and her husband as well.
Since the flood, I have not slept a whole night all the way through, but I do up there. And I mean, the first night that I done that, he was just tickled to death. The next morning, he was like, "Do you realize you slept all night?" It's good, and it's so well insulated. I swear you barely hear it, you know, so it doesn't sound like it's, you know, it's terrifying.
According to the Housing Development Alliance, Missy Sexton was the 150th flood survivor to receive a new home with HDA. And again, 3 years after that flood tore through the region, counties are still working to repair and rebuild, with some leaders saying change will have to come before recovery. WYMT's Buddy Forbes has more from the Big Sandy region.
The July 2022 flood left more than destruction in the Big Sandy region, even 3 years after the waters receded.
If you live close to the river, one of the rivers, the creek or stream, and there's a bit of propensity for it to flood, there's likely going to be another flood event.
Since that flood, leaders in Pike and Floyd counties have reported flash floods and washouts several times a year.
Got to a point where they could get moved back in and get back to some sort of normalcy. And unfortunately, some of those folks actually have gotten hit again in February when we were flooded.
And though the recovery process has brought out a lot of change and countless helping hands, folks say it is time to dig deeper to keep communities safe.
Our children and our grandchildren will not have a holler to live in because they're all going to be washed out because we're trying to save a property.
Governor Andy Beshear visited Floyd County last week to recognize the damage of the deadly flood and the progress made in the mountains, saying his office has heard the public outcry.
One thing that we hear a lot is that we need to dredge the creeks, and I couldn't agree more, but there's significant federal regulation that's existed under all types of administrations. It's the Army Corps of Engineers, it's the EPA, so federal legislation, if it would go through, would be very helpful for us, and we'd be ready to get to work.
But some homeowners say they cannot wait for mending.
300 homeowners that have signed up for the buyout program. We're working toward that. We're making progress on it.
Choosing to move to higher ground or build back better.
The High Ground Project of Wayland has really been a good shot in the arm for the community, and we certainly hope to expand on that.
And though emergency management officials say there is no perfect answer when wading through the worries, the flood did not just take, it also taught.
We have the RAVE mass notification system. Through FEMA's hazard mitigation program, we're able to get 5,000 weather radios. We've done 13 different distributions here in Pike County.
They say every step forward is what matters as the region works to rise and revitalize. Buddy Forbes, WYMT Mountain News.
Officials say they're proud of the progress communities have made and all of the help that's followed in this disaster. On the 1-year anniversary of the July 2022 flood, WYMT produced Faces of the Flood, a documentary recounting stories of flood survivors and those impacted by the flooding. That special is available at WYMT.com. Just search Faces of the Flood to learn more. Well, thanks so much for getting your day started with us on Mountain News this morning at 5:00.